I'm going to be working on these vinyl tilt-in windows, mostly the spiral window balance mechanism on both sides helps these things go up and down easy. These are running pretty rough. Sometimes they're broke. Most of the time they just need cleaned up and lubed, so we're going to check this out. You should only need a few things for this. WD-40 with a straw. Definitely need one of these spiral window balance tools. You definitely got to have one of these to do that, and a big fat flat screwdriver is probably all you need. I'm going to run this thing up and down so you can hear how rough it is. You can see it's pretty tough going up and going down. You can hear those mechanisms catching and not catching. So first of all, run this thing up a little bit and pop the top loose and pull your window in until it's roughly 90 degrees. And then you'll tip one side or the other until the pin on the window comes out of that shoe. And then the other side should follow. You might have to tap it and get that out of the way. There's also some covers over top of the spiral mechanism there. Those usually just snap in if you have them, some don't. And just get a screwdriver and get that started on the side that it's snapped. You can use your fingers or a screwdriver and just loosen that up and it should come right out. Just give it a little pull and get that out of the way. It's better to have a little bit more room for this mechanism to move a little bit while you're working on it. And you can kind of basically see what's going on. There's one screw that holds this thing in the very top. And then you got that rod and then the spiral part that goes inside. Here's the opposite side. You can see a little bit better the pins that you have to grab with that tool. You grab it like that, and then this is kind of a weird angle, but you might have to pull on it a little bit, but hang on to it because you don't want this thing to unwind on you. Hang on to that tool. And then what I did was I ran the mechanism all the way down, extended that spiral part so it was exposed, and I'm just going to lube it up with some WD-40. You don't need a ton, just, squirt a little bit. Some of this stuff's going to run off into the channel at the bottom, and then squirt either side of that shoe bracket also, because that runs on the sides inside there. And then you can take your screwdriver, turn that thing and hang on to it and run it back up a little bit. You can run it up and down if you want. You can pull that mechanism out if you have to. But here's what I did with these. I lubed them up real good, and then righty-tighty, lefty-loosey on these as far as tension goes. Hook it on there, and like I said, hang on to it. Tilt it down, and then I gave it a couple turns. You can feel it tensioning. You don't want to put too much on these things, but I gave them a couple extra turns and popped it back in there. And then let go. The tool makes it really easy to do that, but you do have to hang on to it. So after you do all that, get your covers snapped back in. Those can be kind of a pain too, but just take your time with those because they're really easy to break. And get those snapped in before you put your sash back in. And then same thing, you might have to line these up a little bit. You might have to wrestle with this just a little bit because of messing around with those shoe brackets. But get them lined up so they'll go in the hole, one side first and then the other side, and then pull it up so it engages both sides real good. Get it 90 degrees and then snap your window back in, run it up and down and see how it works. This it's working pretty good. I did about 12 or 13 of these, and I think this was the worst one. And then I squirt the channel on both sides one last time for that shoe rail, that shoe bracket to run against. You can hear it really smoothed it out quite a bit, and there's a couple extra turns. So if you end up breaking one of these things, or you have a broken one like I did on one of the other windows, to replace them, you just measure the rod part. You don't have to measure any part of the spiral part, just the rod. And you want to measure the thickness also. This is a 3/8 by 32. It's actually a pretty good size. I got links to some of this stuff down in the description if you need to look at that. Otherwise, yeah, if you have these kind of tilt-in windows with that mechanism, pretty easy fix to clean up. Hope that helped.